my glasses on. Yeah, great
But we
going.
really don't
No,
need
I'm
them
not
today.
interested. Great going.
you. We afternoon. Please remain standing for the singing of O Canada by Signa Anderson.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Please be seated. What a beautiful day we have here to celebrate our graduates. At this time, we welcome Chief Hugh Akachie of the Passamaquoddy Peoples to give a traditional welcome to honor our graduation ceremony and celebrate the journey and achievements of the class of 2020.
I don't want to disappoint you. It's not all tradition that I'm here to bring to the plate. First of all, I'd like to thank you for sharing this wonderful event of yours with me. I think that that's very precious, and I'm honored to be here. I do have some bullet points I'd like to mention, because young people, as we all know, you're the message that's going to leave this stage. The world that we have right now is full of panic, and I don't want you to panic. And I would like to tell you that when people tell you it's a different world, it's not a different world. It's the same great world that we've been living in. And my people have been here for 13 to 14,000 years. I want you to enjoy that. I don't want you to panic. So what we have are a different set of rules. You can handle that. You can make things better. I know you will. So when I hear things like, there's so much fear in the world, I don't want you to be afraid. I'm often asked today to make comments about anger and hate and violence. You simply rely on your love and your compassion, your respect for each other and other people and all that's around you. You'll find your way through it. I have total confidence. So, when it comes to a welcome, I don't need to welcome you. You just finished 12 years of education in our territory. Quano Day is the word. So Quano Day. Thank you. Welcome for being here. But I'd like to mention too that education is the other big ticket item today. And this is just the beginning. This is not the end. You're going to go out into a world and you're going to see things, enjoy things, change things, that's what you're going to do. And why do I know this? Because I'm 74 years old. I'm at the other end of the spectrum. And I can tell you, it's a wonderful world out there, and you're going to have a good time. We'll get through the tough times. We'll make sure that they don't destroy. And with that, I'd also like to invite you to learn. I'd like you to learn about my people. I'd like you to participate in who we are. I'd like you to understand the territory as we see it. But that's another learning experience. So when you leave the stage, please remember that there's another world out there, and it's a great world. And I would just like to say thank you again for all of the people that are here. The parents are always precious, but this is your day. Congratulations, and thank you. Jibalwana.
Thank you, Chief Hugh, for those beautiful words. Welcome to the 54th graduation ceremony of Sir James Dunn Academy. We are here this afternoon to recognize the grad class of 2020 as they successfully complete their high school education. We ask all present today to please stand for a moment. If you wouldn't mind, just please stand. All, please stand. It would be remiss today to not stand for a moment of silence in recognition of a world in pandemic and the thousands of lives who are not able to celebrate a graduation like our own. Thank you. You may be seated, please. At this time, I invite John A. Matheson to deliver the invocation for this afternoon's ceremony.
Thank you, Mr. O'Leary. It's a great honor, privilege for me to be part of this very significant day. And I want to not only bring best wishes and congratulations from the congregation of All Saints Church, but of all 6 churches in St. Andrews and their pastors. I graduated from St. Stephen High School in 1973, which means I'm pretty old. In fact, I christened a couple of the graduates, and there's one couple here, parents who I married not long after I came here, and they're having their wedding anniversary this week, so congratulations. I can't think of anything really notable that happened in 1973, except that I managed to graduate. And I've always been envious of those who graduated in a significant year. I have a cousin, for example, who graduated in 1967, the year of Canada's 100th birthday. And you probably all know someone who graduated in 2000 as a new millennium began. You, the graduates of 2020, will always remember and be remembered as those who graduated in the year of the pandemic. As they say on TV, when things get better, and they will get better, it will be something to be proud of, proud in various ways, but most especially, I think, because all of us have had time to think about how we're all interdependent, how we depend on one another, not just in our own community, but around the world. It's also a time when graduates can think about how they can go on to make a difference in the world, given the problems that we have on many fronts. It's a time to think and give thanks for those who have made sacrifices for the sake of the health and well-being of others, showing us that we should live that way all the time, thinking of others and their needs, not just our own. But this is turning into a sermon which I was not asked here to deliver. I was asked to pray. So let us do that now. Loving God, we give you thanks for this brilliant day, for the sun that shines above, for the breeze that reminds us of your Spirit with us today. We thank you for the beauty around us and for Mrs. Flamer's generosity in making this wonderful facility available for the ceremony. Most especially, we give thanks for these young people assembled to receive their diplomas, to be recognized for their achievements, and to be wished our very best as they begin a new and exciting chapter in their lives' stories. Bless them, bless those who have brought them to this day, parents, grandparents, teachers, and staff. Be with them through the summer months as they work and play. Guide them in the exciting yet challenging months and years ahead. May each graduate find their place, the place where they will be happy and fulfilled, whatever calling they receive and answer. And in all things, may they please you. And as we ask in your holy name, amen.
Thank you, John A. Matheson. At this time, we welcome Zoe Watson, Superintendent of Anglophone South School District, to extend greetings on behalf of the district.
Principal O'Leary, members of staff, who I know many are watching us remotely, members of families, and the most important people here, the graduates of 2020. It is my pleasure to be here with you on this beautiful afternoon to offer you congratulations on behalf of your school district and members of the District Education Council as you celebrate the completion of 13 years of public school education. At this time of year, I have the pleasure of traveling around southern New Brunswick for many years now, attending graduations and all of the other year-end celebrations. And I would have to say that this is the first time that most of my greetings have been virtual. So it's nice today to be able to have the opportunity to actually come and speak to the graduates. I know the last few months have been challenging. Challenging for you, your families, for the staff at your school. And very quickly, your education moved into the online world in April. And that was difficult for your teachers, for your families, and for you. So I thank you for the hard work that you did. I know many of you worked toward credits in your courses, and that was challenging. And I always encourage graduates to be lifelong learners, and Chief Akaji mentioned that in his remarks, because we always have to keep ourselves learning. We have learned over the last few months how to keep ourselves safe and healthy. We've learned new phrases like physical distancing, the way we are all positioned here today, having window visits, and family bubbles, and wearing face masks to keep ourselves safe and to remember to always have one with us. So all of this, it's been new learnings for everybody. Another message to the graduates is always the importance of being resilient. There will be disappointments in your life and things that don't go your way. And guess what? That's happened to all of us this spring, because the graduation celebrations look very different. And I know that we weren't able to have safe grad and proms and banquets and baccalaureate services, but we are very fortunate that you're able to be here face-to-face today. This spring has pushed us all to be problem solvers, as families, as school principals and staff, figuring out how to do things differently. Graduates, your school life has prepared you for the next steps. Whether that be further study, maybe an apprenticeship program, maybe it's directly to the world of work, or maybe it's just pausing and taking some time to figure out what those next steps will be. But regardless of where your path may take you, always remember your beautiful community of St. Andrews. You may leave this town for a time, but always remember to come back. This community is very generous to the schools. And remember when you come back the importance of volunteering and giving back. Thank you, Mr. O'Leary, Ms. Norman, and to the staff, the teaching and non-teaching staff of Sir James Dunn Academy, for all that you do each and every day to support these young people. Students are offered many opportunities beyond the classroom. Lots of sport activities, fine arts, clubs, you name it. Many things that take place in the evenings and on the weekends. And those for you have been learning opportunities as well. To the proud family members who are gathered here today and will be joining us, congratulations to you. And thank you for all that you do to support education and your school. It does take a community to raise a child, and we're grateful to you. In closing, graduates, my final ask today is that you do remember to say thank you to those who have helped you get to this stage. Maybe it's a family member, a staff member, a mentor, a community member, but many people have come together to support you through the last 13 years. So it's important to say thank you to them. We offer you congratulations and enjoy this lovely afternoon.
Thank you, Mrs. Watson. The tradition at Sir James Dunn Academy has always been that the graduating class would select a speaker to address them at their commencement ceremonies. This year, they have chosen Anthony Carey. Anthony began his career teaching with this class, who we are celebrating here today. He has been their teacher, mentor, and friend. He has helped mold our graduates into the person they are today, and more importantly, the people they will become in the future. Please welcome Anthony Carey.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today and for making this ceremony possible. As you know, it was touch and go there for a little while. I'm so glad that we can gather like this, safely, with proper precautions in place to celebrate our graduates amid what may be, for most of us, the defining historical moment of our lives. I am proud to be able to address our grads today. This particular group of graduates has special meaning to me as they are the first group of students in my career where I will have been there for the beginning and now the end of their time at Sir James Dunn Academy. I was there to meet them when they first entered the school in grade 6, and now I get to wish them well at the end of their public schooling. None of us predicted, of course, that the class of 2020 would be graduating into these uncertain times. As a teacher of history, when students come to me with questions about the world, I try to offer perspective where possible, usually applying history as analogy or precedent to draw the listener to some revelation or impart the desired lesson. As a history teacher delivering a commencement address during the most disruptive historical event in most of our living memories, I would like to offer to you, our grads, a final history lesson, one last time, to contextualize, complicate, and humanize our collective story as you all prepare to start new chapters in your own. It will be a downer at parts, but as I've always maintained, history is not a PG-13 subject, and we are often called to take hard, unflinching looks at the worst demons of our nature to discover our better angels. Herman Melville, author of the great American classic Moby Dick, once said, "Truth, uncompromisingly told, will always have its jagged edges." I hope I have lived up to Melville's standards over the years, and I thank you, the graduates of 2020, for allowing me this one last lesson. Though I've had the opportunity to wear many hats over the course of my life, I am first and foremost a storyteller. Though that might sound like the professional title of an underemployed amateur novelist, please hear me out. Storytelling has always been a vital service in human history and is a vital function of our minds. We are designed to create, learn, and tell stories, and for generations we have used narrative to educate our children on expected behavior, communal identity, and cultural history. Narrative is one of the 4 pillars of human discourse, and as such is almost inescapable in conversation. Like acronyms or rhyme, storytelling has always been one of our most effective memorization strategies as it plays to our innate strengths as storytellers and listeners. Before the written word, telling stories was the most important step of the oral tradition, where one generation passed its wisdom on to the next. Through ballads, folklore, myths, prose, and children's fairy tales, whole civilizations put their history, law, and literature into stories, ensuring their people's culture would survive their own individual lifespans. In past eras, it was the storytellers, like the bards of Icelandic sagas, the writers of classical Greek epics, and the authors of holy books from around the world who codified these oral histories, preserving them across the vast expanses of time. This sentiment is best embodied in Newton's immortal words, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." Our stories not only help make sense of the world, but also our place in it. We've been telling stories to each other for so long that our brains interpret the world by creating what psychologists have called our personal mythology, what most of you would call your life story, explaining through narrative the experiences and trials that led you to become the person that you are today. Much like the origin stories of today's popular superheroes, we all have created in our mind's eye the plot line that leads us to becoming the main character in our own life story. In challenging or cynical times, such as when political partisanship inflicts upon us inane schisms, and when the pursuit of profit outstrips the pursuit of human well-being and prosperity, the relevance of storytelling in our everyday lives can be difficult to see, but it is there nonetheless. We continue to pass on our values and heritage through the collections of myths and stories that we call culture, whether in the shape of King Arthur's Excalibur or Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. What stories, then, will we tell our children of 2020? I don't know. Despite how often one hears the word unprecedented nowadays, it is not mere hyperbole. Never in my life, and I'm sure never in most of yours, has it been so obvious that we are living through a major and ongoing historical event that will alter our world in unfathomable ways. During the height of the lockdown, I kept coming back to the realization that one day I will be expected to teach future generations about the events we are currently living through. What stories, I wonder, will I be telling future generations about the world before COVID-19? Will they recognize a world where terms and phrases like social distancing, essential worker, community spread, and flatten the curve had not yet become mantras of public discourse? How do I explain the eeriness of the ubiquity of masks, hand sanitizer, plexiglass screens, and taped arrows on grocery store floors to students who may have never known a world without their necessity? How do we describe a world before touch became taboo? Or before a public cough instilled mortal fear in passers-by? Remember lighthearted cough syrup or cough drop commercials portraying those who call into work as wimps and wussies that simply needed to tough it out? How stunningly tone deaf they seem now. All stories begin with a title. By what title will we call this period in which we now find ourselves? What will the title of the unit be from which students in decades to come will learn about our current inflection point? I don't know. It's not every day you can watch in real time the dubbing of a new historical era. Various titles such as the coronavirus pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, the Great Lockdown, the coronavirus recession, and the Great Shutdown have all been proposed to describe the first half of 2020. And even those terms don't include the year's more colorful cast members, such as the Hong Kong protests, the Persian Gulf crisis between Iran and the United States, the Great Toilet Paper Panic, Australian wildfires, the impeachment and acquittal of an American president, murder hornets, the Russia-Saudi Arabia price war over oil, the deadliest mass shootings in Canadian history, and the 2020 global stock market crash, as well as the end of all major sporting seasons, religious observances, and cultural events due to social distancing regulations, to name a few. Just in the last 3 weeks alone, the killing of George Floyd, an American black man who was murdered at the hands of a white police officer, has sparked what is now the largest civil rights movement in human history, united under the simple assertion that Black Lives Matter. And it was just 3 days ago that the American Supreme Court affirmed the rights of LGBTQ workers in a landmark decision. 2020 is going to make for a very intense and a very thick textbook, and no title I can think of will encompass its scope. What stories will I tell my future students about the legacy of these events? I don't know. The coronavirus epidemic and its associated impacts on societies and economies is the greatest threat humanity has faced since the end of the Second World War. Lockdown measures around the world are, as we speak, being gradually repealed, rightly or wrongly, and humanity worldwide is cautiously emerging after months of self-imposed isolation. We are left to take stock of an uncertain present and to muse about an unpredictable future. The impact of the coronavirus pandemic may not be fully known for decades to come, but we do know that hard choices lie ahead. A May 28th Lloyd's of London study investigating insurance claims estimates that the coronavirus pandemic may be the most expensive disaster in human history. Coupled with widespread concerns regarding economic recession, ecological catastrophe, and a resurgence in authoritarian governments and policies around the world, to many, our present and future might appear quite bleak. COVID-19 has been dubbed the disease of despair because of the heavy toll it has exacted on the mental health of our society. One of the defining tragedies of this era will be the sacrifice of families who, due to social distancing and quarantine measures, are forced to say goodbye to dying loved ones from afar, unable to be by their sides in their last moments. It is challenging then to find a fitting analogy for our time. The 2008 recession, which carved the entire shape of my adult life, pales in comparison to the economic devastation wrought by lockdowns around the world. Even the Spanish flu a century ago, our most recent historical pandemic of comparable scale, strains to be applicable in a liberalized, globalized digital age. In 1918, radio was in its infancy, television hadn't been invented, the use of penicillin and insulin as medicine was still years away, and preventable lethal illnesses were accepted as an unfortunate fact of life. Are we to return to such sentiments? I don't know. That's a phrase I think we are all being forced to get more comfortable with. I don't know. In these past few months, I have said that wholly unsatisfying phrase more times than at any point in my career, usually to desperate, anxious students worried about their futures. I don't know when or even if we'll have an effective vaccine to counter the coronavirus in coming years. I don't know how long we'll have to abide by social distancing, or if that's just something we must do in perpetuity from now on. I don't know when the economy will recover or when your job prospects will improve. I don't know what this means for your 5-year plan, other than that the next 5 years will be very different from years past. I don't know if you'll have the same opportunities that my generation or my parents' generation had. I don't know if my daughter, who turns 4 tomorrow, will enter a school system in just over a year's time that her dad will recognize. I don't know if we'll see our old normal again, and honestly, I'm not so sure that that's a bad thing. I really wish I had these answers to give you, but it isn't the nature of unprecedented historical events. We as a global society seem like the crew of Melville's Pequod, pursued by an invisible menace, adrift in hazardous and uncharted waters, unable to see the stars through the storm, and with no rescue in sight. All of this presents a rather bleak story of 2020, and it's a story that I don't like very much. However, it is also a story that speaks more to the current fog of uncertainty facing us than what the historical legacy of this year will be. That story is still being written, and we have no shortage of proofs that inspire a very different narrative. I want to share with you today a more hopeful, if perhaps romantic, vision of what the story of this year could be. It is a story where it is okay to not have all the answers, because we are instead guided by the contents of our characters and the characters of our communities. Truthfully, I am deeply heartened how the times in which we live vividly demonstrate, and in such sharp relief, a very different conception of humanity, stripped of the naive realism and cheap cynicism of the post-truth era, and instead rooted in community, compassion, and good faith in one another. Tired old platitudes like "we are all in this together" have been empowered with new relevance, and never in my life has the outline of our common humanity come so clearly into focus. We are indeed adrift in hazardous and uncharted waters, but we are not in this alone. In the words of Canada's own Marshall McLuhan, there are no passengers on Spaceship Earth. We're all crew. Working in my empty classroom for the last few weeks, I've spent a lot of time thinking about one historical event in particular. For the last 6 years, as the grads know, in every single one of my classrooms, I have prominently displayed a famous photograph from the Second World War, known as St. Paul's Survives. It is a powerful image. It was taken in December 1940, 4 months into what's known as the Blitz, when Nazi Germany bombed British cities on a daily basis in an attempt to break the will of their resistance and force a surrender. The image depicts London's St. Paul's Cathedral in the early hours of the morning during one of the deadliest raids of the Blitz. In the picture, the cathedral is brightly lit, standing defiantly unscathed amid swirling clouds of black smoke. When viewing the photograph for the first time, you can be forgiven for thinking that it is midday. In fact, it was not yet dawn when the photo was taken. The cathedral is illuminated by the glare of London burning. That particular raid became known as the Second Great Fire of London, killing over 150 people and destroying thousands of buildings. What the photograph does not tell is the human drama that was unfolding around St. Paul's itself. The cathedral appears undamaged in the photo, but it and its surrounding area were actually hit with dozens of incendiary bombs. And it was only by the actions of a small band of volunteer firefighters desperately working throughout the night on the orders of Churchill himself that the cathedral was saved from the fate engulfing the rest of the city of Old London. These firemen braved the bombs and falling rubble that killed 12 of their number that evening across the city. And when the water mains were bombed and ran dry, they used buckets, hand pumps, and sand to save this symbol of the British people. By the time dawn's light fell on the smoldering city, St. Paul's Cathedral had survived, standing almost entirely alone amid the scorched desolation and burnt-out husks that used to be London's financial district. In the days that followed, the picture was displayed on the front pages of newspapers around the world and became a galvanizing example of national solidarity and a nation's endurance in the face of the unendurable. Despite the uncertainty of the Blitz and in rebellion against its human and material costs, the British people gained worldwide recognition for their resilience and good nature in the face of dire adversity. They would crack jokes about how the weather felt a little blitzy during a raid, or how enemy bombers were simply redeveloping the city. They would laugh as they picked family heirlooms out of the ruins of their homes with the help of neighbors, and socialized in large cheerful crowds as they cleaned debris out of the streets. Most Londoners spent much more time with family during the Blitz than they had in the years before. People continued to go to pubs and sports matches in contempt of the air raids, and the number of workdays lost that year to labor strikes was the lowest in history up to that point. Some even said that they enjoyed the air raids so long as they were infrequent. Despite initial fears about the effects of the bombing on mental health, the number of suicides across the nation declined during the Blitz. Mental health facilities closed due to lack of need, and volunteers for various civil defense organizations surged. Even the Boy Scouts played a role in guiding fire engines. The legacy of the Blitz can be seen in the British reputation for gallows humor, a stiff upper lip, and bulldogish determination. Melville wrote, "I know not all that may be coming, but be it what it will, I'll go to it laughing." In this story, we see how those words are embodied on a national scale. This determination did not go untested. Londoners didn't know it at the time, but the Blitz would last for 5 more long months, ultimately claiming the lives of 40,000 Britons, half of them in London alone. Despite these losses, the Blitz is nonetheless remembered as a point of national pride. Even the better part of a century on, St. Paul survives, and the example of the British people during the Blitz continues to rouse the spirits of those enduring their own personal struggles with the reassurance that the night will end and that dawn is coming. There's a lesser-known aspect of the Blitz that is relevant to our analogy. In the years leading up to the Second World War, various politicians, psychiatrists, and authors demonstrated an utter lack of faith in the British people's ability to weather strategic bombing and the consequences of industrial total war. With projected casualty numbers in the hundreds of thousands in the first days of the war alone, they believed that sustained aerial bombardment would quickly lead to mass panic and the collapse of civil society. Even more incredible is their estimate of millions of psychiatric casualties, a conclusion arrived after examining cases of shell shock from the First World War. They predicted a mass migration away from cities to the countryside, something which did occur but on a much smaller scale than feared. All of this turned out to be unwarranted, and in hindsight, seems a cynical overreaction based on fear rather than facts. Society did not collapse. There was no mass panic. Community did not break down into survival of the fittest individualism. Brother did not turn on brother. Contrary to one popular contemporary opinion, when the chips were down, people did not eat each other. Instead, they hugged each other closer. We all know intuitively how a mistake lingers in our minds long after we forget about our many successes, of how negative events have a greater impact on us than positive events. Psychologists call this our negativity bias, and it's an important component of our psyche, protecting us from harm by ensuring harmful experiences are taken seriously. Unfortunately, when unchecked, our innate negativity often leads us to discounting the positives, magnifying the negatives, and expecting the very worst from ourselves and our collective humanity. After a lifelong diet of disaster movies, post-apocalyptic fiction, and sensationalist social media, it was so easy to believe that when the chips were down, people would turn on each other. We are regularly bombarded via mass media, social media, and the news with the darkest possible interpretation of world events and our role in them. It makes sense after all. History has its own negativity bias. People living their lives well isn't newsworthy or notable, and doesn't usually make the history textbooks, whereas wars, famine, and pandemics do. It is the exceptions that prove the norm. Long before coronavirus arrived on the scene, vapid truisms such as the world is going to hell in a handbasket spoke to the current of fatalism and misanthropy shot through the heart of our culture. But upon examination, it never really added up. There are, to be sure, serious global issues facing humanity, some existential, and improving global averages mask the hardships faced by individuals, but hardships are not new for humanity. What is new is the quality of life your average human being enjoys today, and that is a story worth telling. In 2020, and in spite of a global pandemic, we are currently living in the most peaceful period of human history. Though current global tensions remain high, there hasn't been a major wars between great powers in almost a century, leading to what military historian John Gaddis has called the long peace. Violent crime is in decline, as is crime of all kinds. Cities are becoming more sustainable, and just last month, Americans used more electricity generated from renewable sources than coal for the first time. Fewer people go hungry despite there being a lot more people. And 9 out of every 10 of them will be educated in how to read and write, something historically reserved for only the most privileged members of society. More people have access to clean water and sanitation than ever before. In my lifetime alone, 1/4 of the world's population has emerged from extreme poverty, despite it growing by 2 billion people. Around the world, people are living longer, healthier, and more secure lives than their ancestors. It seems paradoxical, then, that as many of us crack deadpan jokes about how the end of the world is nigh and bitterly worry about the unknown future, humanity as a whole enjoys the best quality of life for the greatest number of people that we as a species have ever experienced. That is a human success story that continues into the era of COVID-19. We are likely still in the early stages of the pandemic, and we can't know if the worst is behind us. Like the Londoners enduring the firebombing of the Blitz, we don't know how long our period of uncertainty will last, and most of our estimates are quite a bit longer than 5 more months. In 2020, we have witnessed the largest social engineering experiment in human history in the form of global lockdowns. More than half of the world's population have been in lockdowns at some point since New Year's Eve 6 months ago, when the Wuhan Municipal Health Commission made the first public announcement of a pneumonia outbreak of unknown cause. From our vantage point in history, we can't know what the long-term effects of the lockdowns will be, especially as the pandemic is compounded by economic recession. But early signs are promising. According to a study by the Imperial College of London published earlier this month, the lockdown in Europe alone saved the lives of 3.2 million people. If we can navigate the maelstrom of this time, the story of 2020 will be one of extraordinary compassion. When we as a species, in a titanic global effort, chose to put life and the needs of others over economic or personal self-interest. Around the world, we rallied to flatten the curve, to slow the spread of the virus and reduce the strain on our collective healthcare systems. We isolated ourselves, even from loved ones, to protect our most vulnerable, many for months at a time. In doing so, we have refocused our lives away from the workplace and towards the home on a massive scale. Our technological innovations have allowed us to remain close while we are physically distant, and we have adapted with the characteristic spirit of a people united against a common foe. Barriers to technological access have fallen, and a new, more collaborative type of society is emerging in online spaces. Churches and other places of worship, oft ridiculed as behind the times, have also adapted to the pandemic age. Jewish families have observed Passover together over Zoom, and the Pope live-streamed Mass on Easter Sunday to an empty cathedral in Manila so that the world's billion-plus Catholics could watch with digital eyes. We have rediscovered the wisdom of expertise, and our institutions have demonstrated a surprising adaptability, instilling a new faith and respect in them and their necessity, as they prove to be far more resilient than our fiction has feared. A new sense of civic responsibility has emerged, and big government is not the boogeyman it once was. The language of patriotism, usually reserved for soldiers, has been retooled to describe those on the front lines of the pandemic. Not just the nurses, doctors, and first responders who have borne the brunt of COVID-19, but the truckers, postal and delivery workers, linemen, cashiers, shelf stockers, custodians, municipal employees, and minimum wage workers of all types who were thrust into the role of essential worker. Despite shortages of personal protective equipment and afraid for themselves and their families, millions of essential workers put themselves at risk, working long hours to the point of exhaustion and reeling from an increasingly complex array of mandatory sanitation guidelines so that society could continue to function for the rest of us who had the privilege of staying or working from home, reminding us that the size of one's paycheck is a poor measure of their value. All of the above suggests that coronavirus has the potential to be a paradigm shift for our global culture, the demarcation line between two very different eras. We have been forced to reconsider who we are and what we value. We are re-examining our lifestyles of consumption and questioning a culture of individualism that fails to serve those at its fringes. We now know that quick, decisive political action is possible, when only months ago it seemed impossible. A revolution in civil rights has spilled forth from the streets of Minneapolis and gone global, with protests in almost every country around the world, as people demand accountability and speak truth to those in power. Perhaps the coronavirus pandemic won't just be the defining historical moment of our lives, but also the moment we wrote a new origin story for a more interdependent humanity that extols the virtues of resilience, adaptability, and above all, compassion, that we continue to demonstrate towards each other like the people of London did a lifetime ago. In sum, the stories I want to tell future generations about 2020 are ones of beauty found in ugly times. They are stories of our common humanity shining through the clouds of petty division and the storms of historical discord. Instead of devolving into individualism in the face of disaster, we have instead renewed our commitment to our communities and societies. Many of the stories I'll share to future generations will be of you, the graduates of 2020, who we now cast out into the waters of this world, assured in the knowledge of your compassion and resilience. I will tell them about my students who were called to work in the middle of a pandemic so that people like their teacher and his family could be safe at home. I can tell them of your resilience in the face of a forced reshaping of education systems worldwide. I can describe to them the quiet strength of young children who, despite unparalleled disruption to their lives, continued the difficult job of childhood in the era of COVID-19. I can tell them about students hand-sewing face masks and 3D printing ear protectors so that they too could do their part in our collective battle against the disease. I can tell them of youth the world over, megaphones in hand, who continue to be the driving force behind meaningful social change. I can tell them of the courage of young people who exclaim to the face of the world, "How dare you!" for the failure to act on the climate crisis, especially now that the coronavirus has proved how dramatic climate change or climate action is indeed possible. I can tell them of the young people who braved a pandemic and took to the streets in peaceful protests worldwide. And I can tell them of the youth who braved the blows of batons, tear gas, and rubber bullets so that others could breathe freely. You, the grads of 2020, are the pioneers of your generation who will map the frontiers of this coming post-COVID era. You are a generation of extraordinary compassion, embodying the best angels of our nature. And it is with confidence in your abilities that we pass on this story of collective humanity to you so that you may write our next chapter. To draw from Melville one last time, we cannot live only for ourselves. 1,000 fibers connect us with our fellow men, and among those fibers, as sympathetic threads, our actions run as causes and they come back to us as effects. No man is an island. We are all in this together, and it is in each other we can find safe harbor in the tempests of our time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carey. Before we present the diplomas to our graduating class, we want to thank everyone for helping to ensure the success of our graduation ceremony. Thank you to the staff of Sir James Dunn Academy for their collaborative efforts to prepare for this day. Special thank you to Mrs. Fleemer, Brad Henderson, and the Kingsbrae staff, CHCO-TV, Patrick Watt, for holding this ceremony in such a beautiful location with the technological needs to make sure all could view. Thank you, most importantly, to parents, families, and community members who have guided and mentored our graduates over the years, and to many individuals, groups, businesses within our community who have donated awards, prizes, bursaries, and scholarships. Finally, thank you to the graduates themselves for their hard work, their determination, and their willingness to help whenever needed. Now on to the presentation of diplomas, which will be awarded in alphabetical order. We ask that families will be invited to join once the list of awards have been acknowledged. The tassel ceremony will be performed by parents, and I think this is a wonderful new tradition to be experienced. So at this time, on to our awards and prizes. Signa Jane Cece Anderson. Signa, my apologies, has been awarded the Harry Higgins Memorial Award Prize, first place standing in Chemistry 11, the John Hope Memorial Prize, first place standing in Foundations 12-0, the Henry Holmes Memorial Prize, Legion Prize, first place standing in English 12-2. The Legion extends a sincere congratulations to all their graduating class. At this time, Signa has accepted post-secondary at McGill University. She's enrolled in the Bachelor of Science program. Signa has received the McGill University Major Renewable Entrance Scholarship for a value of $3,000 per year for a total of $12,000. Signa has received and will be receiving her Honor Society plaque for achieving a 90% or greater average in both grade 11 and 12. She will be receiving the Presetti McCullough RN Memorial Bursary on behalf of the Anglican Church. Signa is also the winner of the Sharon Crowther Memorial Award. This award was created in 2012 in memory of Sharon Crowther, a beloved local teacher at Vincent Massey Elementary School, who embodied the very qualities that she inspired within her students. This year, the Sharon Crowther Memorial Award honors a caring, positive student who who has always done her best to support others. We are so pleased to offer this to Signa Anderson. Signa is also receiving the Governor General Medal for Academic Excellence. This award represents the highest academic honor any student can receive within their school and their class. It is an honor to have this medal, and congratulations for that. At this time, we would like to have her mother, Charlotte, and Father John join her on stage. Thank you. Logan William Michael Carter. Logan will be receiving the Groom's Insurance Prize for a deserving student. We congratulate Logan on his acceptance into Mount Allison University. He is enrolled there in the Bachelor of Arts program, and he'll be majoring in English. He has received a renewable entrance scholarship to Mount A in the amount of $3,000 over 4 years for a total of $12,000. Logan has been awarded the Kiwanis Club Bursary for an outstanding student who has made significant contributions to the life, school, and community of St. Andrews. Logan has also been awarded the Merrill L. Wood Scholarship as per his graduating class. Every year, the graduating class selects one of their own to receive this prestigious scholarship. They honor a student who has demonstrated positive citizenship, quality, supported the efforts of the activities of the class, and has also maintained a solid academic record. This individual has had a very positive influence on their class. At this time, we ask that Janelle and Mike join him on the stage, please. Simon Bruce Clark. Simon is winning the John Hope Memorial Prize, first place standing in Foundations Mathematics 12-0. Simon will be entering Queen's University. He's enrolled there in the engineering program. Simon has received the prestigious Chernoff Family Award from Queen's University for a value of $15,000 per year for 4 years for a total of $60,000. Simon is receiving today his Honor Society plaque for achieving a 90% or greater average in both grade 11 and 12. Major awards. The Ted Tedford Award. The St. Stephen Milltown Rotary Club is honored to be presenting one graduate from Sir James Dunn Academy with the 4th annual Ted Tedford Rotary Merit Bursary valued at $1,000. This bursary is presented to the applicant who has been recognized for outstanding qualities of community service, scholastic achievement, responsibility and involvement in extra and intracurricular activities. The honor not only goes to a qualified student, but is also recognized as the man for which it was named. Ted Tedford played a great part in bringing the bursary to the club for high school students. It is the hope that someday the St. Stephen Milltown Rotary Club should boast a member who holds the bursary in his or her credential as a person who continues to excel in the qualities for which it is given. This year's Ted Tedford Merit Bursary is awarded to Simon Clark. Simon Clark is also receiving the Jostens Canada Limited Gold Medal presented to a graduate committed to student life and student affairs. At this time, he'll be accompanied by Kathleen and Dave. Morgan Faye Elizabeth Alva Craig. Morgan is receiving the Leif Locke Aspiring Writers Scholarship Fund through the Fundy Community Foundation. She's also the recipient of the Mad Charlotte County Chapter Bursary for a deserving student. Morgan has accepted entrance into University of New Brunswick-Fredericton, and she is enrolled in the Bachelor of Arts program. Morgan has received the UNB Fredericton's entrance scholarship at a value of $1,500. She's accompanied by her mother, Stephanie, and grandmother, Faye. Austin John Crichton. Austin's contributions to the SLEEK program and the Greenhouse program at Sir Jamestown Academy will be valued for years to come. A valued volunteer within our school. He'll be exploring his options over the next year, and we wish him the absolute very best in his journey. At this time, he'll be accompanied by his mother, Julie, and father, Jimmy. Tyler Joseph Keith Doland. Tyler is the recipient of the Pearl Snell Memorial Award, the Charlton Family Scholarship, and the Women's Institute Bursary. Tyler has been accepted and will be attending UNB Fredericton. He is enrolled in the Bachelor of Kinesiology program. Tyler has received a UNB Fredericton Applicant Branch Scholarship in the amount of $1,000. He'll be accompanied by his mother, Joanne. Elias John Eldridge. Elias has been awarded the St. Andrews Lions Club Bursary through the Funded Community Foundation. It is given to candidates who have demonstrated and contributed to their school and community. Elias will be attending Dalhousie University. He is enrolled in the Recreation Management program there. He is the recipient of the Dalhousie University Entrance Scholarship Award valued at $4,000 per year for a total of $16,000. Elias will be receiving his Honor Society plaque today for achieving a 90% or greater average in both grade 11 and 12. Sir James Dunn Academy was created and financed through the vision of Lady Beaverbrook. The school opened in September 1966. The first graduating class was in June of 1967. Lady Beaverbrook's concept was that both the body and mind should be nurtured. She believed students should put total effort into their studies, extracurricular activities ranging from sports teams to art and cultural activities. Today, the Sir James Dunn Foundation continues to financially support many extracurricular activities, including the Dunn Scholarships. The Dunn Committee has reviewed Elias's academic achievements, his community involvement, his reference letters and application, and overall contribution to the school and community of St. Andrews. The Dunn Committee is very pleased to announce he will be awarded $3,000 renewable for 4 years for a total of $12,000. He'll be accompanied by his mother, Lisa, and father, John, please. Cole Terrence Joseph Handelan. Cole has been accepted into the Marine Diesel program at New Brunswick Community College in St. Andrews. A new scholarship this year on behalf of the Andrew Bartlett Memorial Scholarship Program. Cole is receiving a new scholarship which allows him to pursue a community college experience for a value of $540. The Andrew Bartlett Memorial Scholarship is established in honor to preserve Andrew Jason Bartlett's memory at Sir James Dunn Academy. The scholarship is given to a deserving student, for which Cole is just that. Be accompanied by his mother, Nicole. Jonah Aaron Hanley. Joni is the recipient of the John Hope Memorial Prize, first place standing in Foundations Math 12. The Royal Canadian Legion Branch number 8 prize, first place standing in Leadership 12-0. Jonah is receiving the Andrew Bartlett Memorial Scholarship for a student pursuing a university degree in the value of $1,000. The Andrew Bartlett Memorial Scholarship is established to honor and preserve the memory of Andrew Jason Bartlett. The scholarship is given to a deserving student of Sir James Dunn Academy annually. The scholarship's administrators will be looking for a student like Andrew, a graduating student who is furthering their education towards a bachelor's degree. Andrew graduated Sir James Dunn Academy in 2007 and lost his life in 2010 at the age of 21. In his last year at St. Thomas University, Andrew was a hard-working student, highly involved in many different activities. His love of sports did not go unnoticed, with soccer and hockey being his passions. He loved to travel and spend time with the family at the camp at Bonaparte Lake. St. Thomas presented Andrew's family with a Bachelor of Arts honorary degree in 2011, and that speaks volume for Andrew's true dedications to his studies and to the school he loved. Andrew was an amazing friend, quiet, good-natured man, and one of the most charismatic people someone could know. He showed people how to laugh, and not how to take life just too seriously. Andrew was a true memory maker. Jonah will be attending Dalhousie University. He is enrolled in the Bachelor of Science program. Jonah has received a Dalhousie University entrance scholarship valued at $5,000 per year for a total of $20,000. Jonah will be receiving his Honor Society plaque today for maintaining a 90% or greater average in both grade 11 and 12. The Dunn Committee, Sir James Dunn Scholarship Program, has reviewed Jonah's academic achievements, his community involvement, his reference letters, and application. The Dunn is pleased to announce that Jonah will be receiving $4,000 annually, renewable for 4 years, for a total of $16,000. Jonah is also the recipient of the Burke's Medal, a student who has shown exemplary leadership during his years at Sir James Dunn Academy. He'll be accompanied by his mother, Angela, and father, Aaron. Aiden Reed Hart. Congratulations, Aiden. We wish you the very best in your endeavors. Remember, build it one stone at a time, true and plumb, follow your dreams, and pursue. This time, he'll be accompanied by his mother, Susan. Okay. At this time, parents, we're going to have a short intermission. We're going to compile our graduates for a photo. I would ask that these parents here, if you'd be kind, just to enter on this exit. Our new parents will be arriving shortly. And we had a wonderful time here with today, and thank you for coming. So at this time, we're going to have our short intermission. Welcome, parents, to the 54th graduation ceremonies. As we continue, we're here to celebrate our students from Sir James Dunn Academy. Now we'll continue with the presentation of our diplomas, which will be awarded in alphabetical order. We do ask that families join the graduates as requested during the service. They'll enter stage right, exit stage left. Lucas Benin Ketch. Lucas is the recipient of the John Hope Memorial Prize, first place standing in Foundations Mathematics 12-0. Lucas has also been awarded the St. Andrews Branch Navy League of Canada scholarship valued at $500 from Cadets Canada, the Navy League of Canada Medal of Excellence, and the Captain's Prize, along with the Lord Stratacana Trust Fund Medal. Major accomplishments with cadets. Lucas has also been awarded the Kiwanis Club Bursary for an outstanding student who has made significant contributions to the life of our school and community. Lucas will be attending Dalhousie University. He is enrolled in the Bachelor of Science program with a major in Applied Mathematics and Statistics. Lucas has received the Dalhousie University Entrance Scholarship valued at $5,000 per year for a total of $20,000. Lucas is receiving his Honor Society plaque today for his achievement of maintaining 90% or greater in both grade 11 and 12 at Sir James Dunn Academy. Sir James Dunn Academy was created and financed through the vision of Lady Beaverbrook. The school opened in September of 1966 with the first graduating class in 1967. Lady Beaverbrook's concept was that both the body and mind should be nurtured. She believed that students should put total effort into their studies and extracurricular activities ranging from sports, teams, and arts and cultural programs. Today, the Sir James Dunn Foundation continues to financially support many extracurricular activities and the Dunn scholarships. The Dunn Committee has reviewed Lucas's academic achievements, his community involvement, his many reference letters and application, as well reviewed his contribution to the school and community. We are pleased to announce he will receive a $3,000 renewable for 4 years for a total of $12,000. At this time, he'll be joined by his mother, Angela, and father, Jason Gabu. Katrina Irene Faith Kiley. Katie has been awarded the St. Andrews Men's Club Scholarship Fund Bursary through the Fundy Community Foundation for her exceptional volunteerism. Katie has been accepted into New Brunswick Community College, St. Andrews, and will be attending in the fall of 2021. Katie is enrolled in the Human Services Program. She has received a bursary from the Royal Canadian Legion. She'll be accompanied by her mother, Jan, and father, Kevin. William Theodore Little. Will has been accepted into Queen's University. He is enrolled in the Bachelor of Computer Science program. Will has been awarded a Queen's University admission bursary of a value of $5,180. He has also received a one-year entrance scholarship from Queen's University to a value of $1,500 for a total of $6,680. Will is receiving his Honor Society plaque today for achieving a 90% or greater average in both grade 11 and 12. Will has also been awarded the Kiwanis Club bursary for an outstanding student who has made significant contributions to the life, school, and community of St. Andrews. At this time, he'll be accompanied by his mother, Jill, and father, Rob. Maria Katrina Mesa. Maria is the recipient of the Royal Canadian Legion Brandt's No. 8 prize, first place standing in Pre-Calculus A. The Legion sends sincere congratulations to all graduating students and award recipients. She is also the recipient of the SJDA AEI Merit Bursary for International Students awarded for enhancing cultural awareness within our school. She is accepted to the University of Leipzig in Germany, where she will be studying medicine. She will be accompanied by Katrina McLaughlin and her host, Father Matt Abbott. Ty Austin Merrill. Ty will be attending the MBCC St. Andrews campus, where he is enrolled in the carpentry program. Ty is the recipient of the New Brunswick Community College Entrance Level Scholarship valued at $1,000. He'll be joined by his mother Angela and father Wade. Good job, Coach. Powell Jolynn Edwin Moore. Powell has been awarded the St. Andrews Community Scholarship Trust Fund Bursary. This fund was established in 1957 by the Honorable Edith Redmond and the St. Andrews Kiwanis Club for the purpose of providing scholarships for the youth of St. Andrews. Powell will be attending University of Prince Edward Island. He is enrolled in the pre-veterinary stream in the Bachelor of Science program. Powell has received a UPEI entrance scholarship for value of $4,000. He'll be joined by his mother, Nicole, and father, Mark. Gwen Elizabeth Jane Pearson. Gwen is the recipient of the Robert Vanderpeer Award for Excellence in Printmaking for outstanding artwork created in the class program at Sunbury Shores Arts and Nature Center. She is also the recipient of the SJDA Yearbook Bursary and the McConvey O'Leary Bursary in honor of women who died from breast cancer who celebrate life through art, poetry, photography, journalism, and most importantly, their families. Gwen has been awarded the St. Mark's Masonic Lodge No. 5, a New Brunswick St. Andrews Bursary through the Fundy Community Foundation for exemplified volunteerism within our school. Gwen will be attending St. Mary's University. She is enrolled in the Bachelor of Science program. Gwen has received the St. Mary's University Renewable Entrance Scholarship, valued at $6,000 per year for a total of $24,000. Gwen will be receiving her Honor Society plaque today for achieving a 90% or greater average in both grade 11 and 12. The Dunn Committee has reviewed Gwen's academic achievements, her community involvement, her reference letters and applications, and overall contributions to the school and community. We are pleased to announce she will receive $4,000 renewable for 4 years for a total of $16,000. She'll be accompanied by her mother, Jane, and father, James. Brooke Trinity Reed. Brooke is a recipient of the John Hope Memorial Prize, first place standing in Foundations Mathematics 12-0, the SJDA Prize for Yearbook Bursary. Brooke has received the Kiwanis Club Bursary in memory of Hazen Boyd, awarded for citizenship. Brooke was selected by her class to receive the Louise Ruff Bursary. This year, the 2020 graduating class would like to recognize a student who is generous, kind, welcoming, and community-minded, an individual who has a positive outlook on life. This student is recognized by their peers in memory of Louise Ruff, who lived by the motto, maximize your minimum. Brooke has accepted entrance into Dalhousie University, where she is enrolled in the Bachelor of Science program. Brooke has been awarded the Dalhousie Renewable Entrance Scholarship, valued at $5,000 per year for a total of $20,000. Brooke has also received the Dalhousie Entrance Scholarship Community Involvement Bursary valued at $1,000. Brooke will be receiving her Honor Society plaque today for achieving a 90% or greater average in both grade 11 and 12. The Dunn Committee has reviewed Brooke's academic achievements, her community involvement, her reference letters, her application, and her overall contribution to the school and community of St. Andrews. We are pleased to announce that she will receive $6,000 renewable for 4 years for a total of $24,000. I have a special guest to the podium, please.
It is my privilege and pleasure to announce that the recipient of the D. Paul Logan Award for 2020 is Brooke Reed. The D. Paul Logan Award is the most prestigious award presented by the staff at Sir James Dunn Academy. It recognizes citizenship, leadership, and positive contributions, both within the school and the greater community. The D. Paul Logan Award is awarded in memory of the former principal of Vincent Massey High School. Mr. Logan made numerous contributions to the school and to the St. Andrews community in the early 1960s. This year's recipient is a most deserving candidate. She is a young woman with true integrity who has a strong work ethic which has allowed her to achieve academic success throughout her school career. She is a kind, caring, hardworking individual who treats everyone with respect. She's a well-rounded individual balancing academic work, athletics, and community involvement. Her ability to manage all her commitments and achievements is truly inspiring to students and teachers. She leads effectively, collaboratively, well, and always encouraging others. She has been an active member of the cross-country soccer, basketball, and volleyball teams. She's been an active member of our student council throughout her years and was co-president this year. She was also co-editor of the 2020 SJDA yearbook. She has won several first-place course awards throughout her career at SJDA. She will be remembered as a bright star. Congratulations, Brooke. I wish I could give you a congratulatory hug, but we can't at this time.
Brooke will be accompanied by her mother, Sherry, and father, Gregor. Benjamin Graham Sponigal. Benjamin is the recipient of the F. Howard Grimmer Prize, first place standing in culinary technology, 11-0. Ben has been accepted into UMB Fredericton, where he is enrolled in the arts program. Ben has been awarded the Kiwanis Club Bursary for an outstanding student who has made contributions to the life, School and Community of St. Andrews. Be accompanied by his mother, Sandra Graham. John David Turner. John has been awarded the Royal Canadian Legion Bursary in memory of Jim Grandad Stewart, who believed today a reader, tomorrow a leader, a beloved member of our community. John has accepted entrance into the Royal Military College in Kingston, Ontario. He is enrolled in the Bachelor of Arts program and the Military Strategic Studies program. He will be wearing our flag as our essential workers, something to be very proud of. We are honored to announce that the students of the Royal Military College are members of the Canadian Armed Forces who have free tuition, are paid an annual salary, and their value of their tuition and scholarly bursaries exceed $104,000. He is accompanied by his mother, Shelley, and his grandfather, David. What a beautiful day. Many, many wonderful accomplishments. This time, I would like for our graduates to stand for the playing of God Save the Queen. Oh, Karen, a whole page is missed. Oh boy, 3 whole pages are missed. Okay, I've got this. Done it 13 times. I'm good. Sorry, I got caught in the moment here. Wow, okay. It is a tradition that our valedictorian gives a final address to the class. Thank you. Back up. Huh? Last year, the D. Paul Logan got left out by accident. Well, that's okay. These things happen. On behalf of the staff, I wish to congratulate the graduates of 2020. This class will certainly go down in history. When they arrived, they were energized at our middle school with enthusiasm, competitive spirit, and a passion for service to our community. We will greatly miss their presence in our halls, but we are confident that they will make an impact in our futures. I think of a walkout and demand for change, rule breakers and change makers. That's our stage. Today we live life at an incredible pace. We've been forced to slow down, that which we need to embrace. Remember to cherish every moment. Share with all. Love unconditionally. Graduates, remember who you are. Stand tall for what you believe in. And please, make great choices. This advice will serve you well as you chase your dreams in your life. Come back to our halls and please share. Your departure today is best summed up by a very old Irish proverb, which I believe dearly. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. And may the rain fall soft upon your fields until we meet again. It is my privilege to introduce the valedictorian of the class of 2020. He's an energetic, enthusiastic individual who has worked hard to improve our school and community. He's been an active member of many initiatives, and we wish him the best as he was selected by the graduates. I present to you William Little.
Thank you, Dave, for those kind words. All right, wow. I'm going to speak on behalf of my grad class here in saying, this is not how we expected the most anticipated day of our lives to take place. I still can't express how humbled and grateful I am to have the opportunity to stand up here and be chosen by my peers to represent them and myself. But before I get into it, I would like to say a huge thank you to all the parents, grandparents, teachers, and staff of SJDA for help raising these brilliant and creative minds who sit along with me today. I would also like to say a special thanks to Mr. Carey for inspiring his calm and collective manner onto me over the years, to Mrs. Pearson for showing me calculus is not actually impossible, and to Mr. O'Leary and Mrs. Feeney for always keeping me in line and reviving high school hockey. A word we've all become too familiar with recently is uncertainty. And this is a word our class has been face to face with for months now. We've been hit harder than any other class before us, dealing with unprecedented challenges nobody could have ever imagined. We've had to wait months on end simply to hear if we could have this day. We've lost half the most important school year of our lives, and now dealing with the fact we very well may not be leaving our houses for first year post-secondary education. Although, as some may know about me, I'm an optimistic and happy person, so rather than stand up here today and bore you by dwelling on the past few months and the hardships that have hit us, I would like to look at our situation in a different light. This pandemic has taught the most important lesson of our high school career. Life is full of surprises, and not everything is going to go as envisioned. I know I'll never be able to walk into calculus again and find Austin already asleep somehow, or question why John wore a suit to school every single day, or watch Signa get mad over 99% on a test. These little things didn't seem so important at the time, but I've begun to realize these were the most memorable and fun moments. And rather than muse over these memories and sorrow because they're gone, I stay grateful and laugh because they happened. During the heavy stages of quarantine, it gave me lots of time to reflect on my high school experience. And as sad as it is to not experience the real last day of high school, I can truthfully say I got to live an even more memorable episode of my life. As I hope others did, except for Ty, who came out of quarantine with a blonde mullet. Sorry, Ty. I got to spend precious time with my family, time I didn't realize had such an important value, because all of us here are soon going to move on with our lives, whether it be post-secondary education or going to work. And we didn't stop to remember that this time spent with our families is also going to be cut down immensely. And as bad as it sounds, I'm grateful COVID-19 gave me that opportunity. It taught me that when we take the time to observe our surroundings, we're often provided with new perspectives on our situations. My departure from this class is not going to be taken lightly. Having a class size of only 20 students has made it overwhelmingly difficult to simply just say goodbye, especially since many of us here spend most of our lives together. Yet, with this negative comes a positive. We are one of the few schools, if only to have an actual graduation this year, which is it's the bridge between high school and the biggest journey of our lives, turning the dream into a reality. So to stand up here today and graduate alongside my peers and lifelong friends is something I'll be eternally grateful for, given our circumstances. But this just proves how bright and passionate the SJDA class of 2020 really is. The countless talents and brilliant minds on this stage today with me will blow you away. We had adversity thrown at us, and rather than accept our circumstance, we opposed it. And with hard work and creativity, we now stand here today. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. I've seen this hard work and dedication firsthand my whole life with these guys. And these attributes that my graduating class embrace are going to go so much further than high school. I truly am beyond excited to see the extraordinary things that this class will bring to the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Will. Now at this time, we will rise for the playing of God Save the Queen. It is in order now properly, so Signa. Just a few little notes before I announce the class of 2020. We will be proceeding to Indian Point Park. Parents, please establish the cavalcade. Stay together in that unit. We're a little bit behind schedule, but that's okay. The town crew will make sure you have access to that location. Graduates, please remain in your vehicle until Mr. Turner has parked his vehicle so that you all can get out together. I do ask under these restrictions that graduates and one guest may stand at the front of their vehicle at the point. And the well-wishers, please encourage them to remain in their car, travel slowly, and cheer loudly. Okay? At this time, I present to you the graduating class from Sir James Dunn Academy for the year 2020. Well done. Graduates will be leaving in descending alphabetical order, and heading up the stairs and exiting. So Logan, you may lead the way, please, sir. Thank you.